Hello everyone, this is Point and Click Gaming, and I make these videos as a kind of an excuse to show off my ELO rating, to be honest with you. So yeah, rising through the ranks. Still stuck in the top 40s, but as I said before, not really committed to raising my ELO. If I get to 1700 or 1800, the top players can actually take 1 point of ELO off of me. But yeah, it's really a struggle for the guys at the top. Let's go back to our map openings. We're going to be doing maps 21 through 25, and then thanks to what's his name, the Java. Let me search his name. The Jumping Java. They mentioned a map that I didn't previously cover before, which is the Peninsula map. I now added that to the map pool. I probably should upload the updated map pool to the War of Dots Discord server. I just kind of don't want to spam that too much. But yeah, the updated map pool is on the tier list on the Discord server, and if someone requests it, I will re-upload the file again. But for right now, let's go over map opening. So this is map 21 of the map of the 1v War of Dots 1v1 map pool. This is actually one of my favorite maps, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, I also updated map 20 just to show the pullback of the salients for the 1v1 matchups. There's a lot more troops on this map than there are for the front lines. It's because of the extended salient that there's extra troops. But yeah, if you pull everything back, you'll notice that there's a big troop mismatch. So it's really this map 20, the troops will settle on the front line. Like eventually, you'll get two straight front lines. That's just how the map is oriented toward. So that's why it makes it fun. Not my favorite, but it is pretty fun. So let's take a look at this map in particular. So map 21 is very interesting. Um, Immediately at the beginning, I think it's a little bit red-sided. Specifically, these two troops here. The reason why these two troops are dangerous is because if red moves their tank in a correct movement, you will at least capture one because these units are trapped and it's very hard to pull back, right? Because these tanks are slow, you get 2 seconds to react. If you don't react fast enough, these two troops are going to get squeezed onto the side of this map and there's just no saving them. Red will immediately get a troop advantage. So you are going to, as blue, your first thing is to immediately move this troop back and then this second troop. This red troop cannot stop anything. It's these two tanks who will squeeze these two light troops against it. So for map 21, we're going to look at one of my battles against Xeno. So you're going to see I take this northern engagement here. These two tanks are going to squeeze the blue units against the edge of the map. He does some good maneuvering where he's able to squeeze his light units out, which is very interesting. And then while I'm focusing on this battle in the north, see this light unit is going to fall very easily since you have two heavies against a light unit. He pulls these units out eventually, so I'll speed this up a little bit. So then we have to focus our attention somewhere else. As you can see here, the center is weak. You could obviously attack here, but there's so much easy pullback. I mean, blue does the right move here by pulling these blue units back. I'm basically expanding the combat front in the center here just because you have a larger combat width to engage the troops in. So yeah, a lot of combat battles are here, obviously taking a tank disparity. I noticed the capital is open, so I literally sail back. So if you're going to have all your units on the front line, just make sure the capital, I think, is garrison, or watch out for any naval invasions here. And especially if they're attacking the center. Opening this combat with, there's a minor error there. I'll automatically get a opening advantage, and that's pretty much it for this map. So not much more to say on this sort of opening. As soon as blue attempts to pull back, these tanks are going to be blocking the way, so you might even want to push these tanks down and pull these two light troops back. But yeah, once these tanks squeeze in, these two light troops are dead. You might be able to squeeze one out, which is this right side blue troop, but the very right one is just going to get stuck on the edge of the map just because it's not going to be able to pull out. So this map is very dangerous. I would recommend pulling all these units out, which will give you some light units to mess around with, whether you want to charge down the middle, which I find this center is a very hard center to break. There's just too much easy to reinforce. It's very easily to get surrounded, right? If you pull too far forward, right? If red gets behind your lines, it could get surrounded, even though there's support from these two cities, right? These two cities are pretty much anchor points. Those two cities are going to be the first to get broke. Red definitely has an advantage up here. Blue's advantage is going to be over here. Because red's troops are so far ahead of where they should be, your main goal as red is to pull those troops back at the right timing. Red is obviously you're going to be attacking up north. Blue, because of this wide open, what is it called? Front line. Um, there's two terms. One is power projection, which is by Rebel Merlin, and the other is combat width, I think, or combat depth. So because of um, combat width coming from Hearts of Iron 4, because there is such an open gap here, you have a larger area to attack. You have a larger surface area to attack these dots, especially with this tank. Usually, if you don't do this right, the light units will go into the river, which will just cost you a little bit of morale. But because there's a larger space here, combat with, you can actually stuff more troops into it. So this is probably Blue's attack point, right? You have two light units here, heavy tank down the middle. You could even pull back, because it would be very hard for Red to assault the capital. You just need to make sure Red doesn't take the southern cities. Same thing with Blue here. If you could push in, this southern city is a very nice area to sneak into. Red can obviously use it as a reinforce point, but because Red may or may not put a troop on this southern city, it leads to some very nice ambushes or sneaks by Blue while Red is distracted up north or in the center. As I said before, Blue should almost immediately pull these units back and cycle these units up north. Red. Red should almost immediately pull these Red units back and cycle these units up north. As you can tell, I'm much more a fan of Red than Blue on this map, but you can fight as Blue. Blue is a similar style. They need to pull the northern troops back and reinforce both either the center or this weak center. Once these Blue units come in, if these red units retreat too far, you take some of these light units and surround this southern front. So red, if is going to pull the north, has to make sure they're if red is pulling these northern central units back, make sure you pull these red units back as well to a more defensible area. Stuff one unit in the gap and just make sure blue overextends. I find defensive tactics are definitely more unique, even though you're giving up the initiative of the attack, because it's very easy for troops to overextend and surround. But just make sure if you do retreat, you do retreat in an ordered manner. Not much more to say about this map. I don't do a lot of river rushes. I always think bridges are a much more better way to go. Just make sure you don't get your troops surrounded, because blue's reinforce is going to be a little bit more difficult. I think red is much more concentrated in terms of troops, but blue is equally viable. Let's go look at the tier list by Trezanel and his group, which was, where's the tier list here? This could be here we are. A map tier list. Okay. No, what is it? Capital M and T. No? Oh, WebP. File extensions. Okay, so let's take a look here. I would definitely say this is slightly imbalanced. Okay, so yeah, B in terms of balance, which makes sense. I wouldn't say, I feel like, yeah, this would probably be A in terms of balance. Fun, hard to say. It's okay. I think I would rate this A in terms of fun. Yeah, here. I would put it under challenging, but not my favorite map to play. This one is map number 1, I think. Let me take a look at map number 1 again. That or is map number 28? Oh, it's not. Okay, so it is map number 28. Or somewhere in the back. What map is that? Is it that one? No, it's not. So it's a different peninsula map. 20, 21, 22. Did I not add that map to the map pool? Oh, that's map number 7. Okay. What do I think of this map? Probably challenging. I don't like playing it. Maybe red or blue is relatively balanced or something. Not my favorite map just because of the peninsula assault, and it's a little bit difficult to manage, so just put it in the center, which would be roughly B tier, I guess. Let me add 2 more maps to the map pool, which is 29 and 30. So if you notice, the map pool, I'm missing the right half of map 17, the peninsula map. This one I only show the left. There's a right half to the peninsula, And the Jumping Java pointed out I'm missing map number 30, which is this peninsula map down here, which I've added into my local files. As I said before, I can upload that one, but for right now, we'll just stick with what we have. Okay, map 22. Ooh, this is the other gap map, but it's, what is it called? The gap, the cauldron? It's not really much of a cauldron or thing, but this is interesting. Okay, so immediately here, I saw the Asterion versus Mr. Gayvod game. Asterion tried to assault naval through the river. This is on Rebel Merlin's channel, which is interesting. Um, You'll notice immediately you'll notice there's a mismatchup. There's equal amount of troops, but because the combat width is much shorter in blue, it's a much more defensible position. So if you, also I noticed on that map, if blue pulls this unit, there is no overextension, which is very interesting. I thought blue's units would be overextended. Almost immediately, I always pull back these blue units just because they're so far ahead and red just can pull units off and reinforce. Yes, there's this lingering threat, but I'd rather have these units active doing reinforcements in the south than stuck here up here doing nothing, especially if you're behind. Just having these units up here. What you can do is pull one unit away because there's a misbalance of 7 troops to blue 6 plus this one, which makes it 7, so that's what kind of makes it balanced because there's a combat width. If you pull it back even further to here, you get a more combat width, but you're welcome to play it how you want. You pull this troop back and you get an extra troop. The problem is red's troops are so close to the front line that I don't think once you're stuck in the battles in the south, you don't really have time to manage the stuff in the north. So play it how you will. I'd rather just cause more chaos by pulling this back. Similar theme over here. Red has a lot of troops here as well. These troops are gonna go up or gonna go down. Sorry. These troops are either going to go up or they're going to go down. These tanks eventually are going to move themselves to the front line. So as red, what I tend to do is pull these troops back just because they're too far forward, and then you don't even have to worry about naval invasions here. Once you get these tanks on the city, you can fully focus on the central front, just because blue has a much harder time as they have to reinforce back in these cities back here. As I said, red, I'm always looking to make a breakthrough in the center. With all these troops in the north, it's pretty easy. Blue can do some naval invasions or trying to push from the north. This is a very dynamic map, I would say. Naval invasions down here are possible, especially since this river strait is relatively short and narrow, so you won't lose too much morale. But as I said before, this is mostly managing ambushes and making sure you get good favorable trades here. Blue, as I said before, has a large force in the south. Their combat width is a lot more, and as I said before, there's always this threat of invasion. So as long as you move these troops to the south, like red will have a hard time reinforcing these troops, which is almost why red should almost be retreating these tanks back to somewhere around here, putting a tank on the city, and then managing their forces in the north. Because red just has such a large troop advantage in the north. If red attacks and they do it correctly, they can even do a naval invasion and trap these units in the north. Red definitely has an advantage here. I almost always like playing red on this map, but blue is playable. As I said before, in the south, this southern city here does give you some naval invading opportunities, which means there is room for counterplay, but I almost always favor red. Just because its cities are much more connected, you can do some backroom shenanigans here for reinforcements, sending your northern front to the southern front. It's just knowing where your weak side and strong side is. Red strong side is the north. Blue strong side, I would argue, is in the south. Just more cities connected here and easier to reinforce with this naval invasion. This is definitely where large imbalance is because blue's city is much more forward and it's much more easily defendable because of this river terrain. So definitely an interesting way to play this map. I enjoy it, but it's not my favorite map. I would put this on the higher end of challenging. But definitely a unique map. I wouldn't say my super favorite to play, but I would say it's very close to the top tier in terms of fun to play. Yeah, and let's see what Trazenel and, all the top tier players like Girth McSlammer and them say. So, what are we looking at? River in the center. Is it not here? Oh, it's here. F tier? Really? Huh, interesting. That's an interesting rating. They don't like that map. Okay, that's cool. Don't know why, but that's interesting to me. Let's take a look at map 23. So river to the right. This is a relatively balanced map. This is also one of the most boring maps. Let's see here. Yeah, they said it's relatively balanced. I'm putting this almost in Slugfest because this is fun. I've had some fun maps. I fought against Steve with this, but this map is relatively solved, and I don't think it's that fun to play. Red is almost always going to retreat through this forest here. This forest terrain is almost like a natural barrier, so it makes it really hard to invade this city. Not impossible, just hard. If you commit enough forces, you can. If you've seen my early battles against Steve, definitely hard to play. This is definitely assaultable, especially since these troops are so far away from the front line if you rush these cities. So you always have to be wary of a backdoor invasion. But the tank imbalance down south makes it slightly favorable for blue in the south, and red strong side is up in the north. I almost always like playing red because these two troops in the center, the stopgap is almost not going anywhere unless you need a quick reinforce and you're basically playing a time attack, or just reinforcements where you're trading time for troops. Um, but yeah, these two troops are almost never going anywhere, and it's basically a matter of where these free troops are going. Blue trying to get to the north is just really slow, so almost as always you're assaulting the south with these three units. So red needs to pay really close attention to make sure they don't lose too many troops in the south. The problem with red in the north is that these two tanks, even though there's a troop mismatch, this is just very hard to assault, and you always need to be wary of a rush. There's no point attacking in the north. It's just too evenly matched, and the river terrain is just the forest terrain is just not good in general, especially for the tanks. But eventually, yes, red is eventually going to make a breakthrough, provided that they can defend this southern front push here. Blue really needs to play for time. I think blue is probably in a better position because blue can very much easily pull their tanks back to the city. Red obviously has this forest terrain, but unless red pushes their units to the south, where blue is eventually going to be retreating some of these northern light units, it's just a pretty slugfest map. That's why it goes in the slugfest here. The other Cauldron run is much more dynamic. This one, I think, is just much more who could play better and have a better breakthrough. I would say this is relatively balanced. And Trey's NL and their tier list suggests, yeah, it's relatively balanced as well. Map 23 there. Not my favorite map. Okay, let's take a look at map 24. Just quick analysis. This is another slugfest map. Man, a lot of these are slugfests. Nothing too remarkable, I would say. Let's take a look at the map here before I judge too deeply. River on the right, map 24. Ooh, I changed map 24 because I shifted everything. Oh, this might be one of the maps that I didn't add. No, there's map 1 and map 7. That's the interesting one. Is map 7 map 30? No. Map 7, I guess, is just map 7 there. It's the one where there are troops. It's going to be like 26. Why is this not? The river map, I think this is map 11. I don't know why that's not on there. We'll just go red as balanced. I don't have too much thoughts. Yeah, there's a naval invasion, but it's relatively slugfest, so it's relatively balanced. Where's the map we were looking at? There's all the troops and maps on the bottom left, and there's a giant rock there. I do remember adding it. Nope, nope, nope. Not that. Do I not have? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so it's around. Oh, map 28. Okay, that's why I haven't seen it. Which one? So this is map 24. No, map 24's changed. Map 23. So we're looking for map 25 then. Yeah, okay, this is map 25. Okay, B tier. Okay, relatively imbalanced. Let's see why. As red, you're almost always pulling these tanks back. I see no reason to attack here. It's just too even. You're not going to get much. As always, 3 tanks to the city, 2 light tanks are free. You rush these to the upper. The plains is interesting. This plains, you have the tank attack there. Send these light troops north. Blue, similar thing. If not, you want to take the tank up to the north there if red is attacking. Usually almost all confrontations. This center confrontation is iffy, especially with the forest. I almost never like engaging in the forest if I can get help with it. As I said before, anytime you're pulling off an equal or contested area like here, Because these are so far away from the front lines, you can get away with pulling it. But pulling already stable troops like this here is very risky because as soon as red rushes into these gaps, um, you're basically removing the retreat, or you're basically exposing your frontline flanks if red chooses to invade. Especially since as long as red has some troops here, it would be very hard to encircle. So retreating any of these like contested or these choke points is always risky because if red attacks like a 3-on-2, if you pull one away, you better make sure um, you're pulling away that unit for good reason, because or you're exploiting a time gap, right? Because if you could exploit a time gap to kill a unit, then yes, retreating one unit is fine, if only in a dire situation. But eventually, red is going to break through if there's a troop mismatch. If you're committing all your forces north, said before, this is relatively balanced. I would put this in a slugfest like map, but yeah, I'll just put in a relatively balanced. Not my favorite map to play, but still playable. It's not quite slugfest territory, just because of large open space. But yeah, not my favorite map. And let's take a look at map number 25. Really? What the frick? Oh, so that is 25. What? Okay. Oh, 24, 25. No, that's not. Yeah, and also red has this weird city all the way over here. Oh, because the terrain is not good for red. That's why it's under B tier. What the frick? No. Oh, these look almost nearly identical with some slight variation. Holy frick. Okay, let's take a look at map 26 then. 22, 25, 24, 27. No map 26? Holy. 21, 25, 23, 6, 14, 22, 3, 27. And no map 28. Oh man, this must be an early version. Ah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Because I misnamed it. No, 8, 8, 9, 10, 11? What? Why are they missing maps? 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. No idea why there's no 16. Hmm. Interesting. 18. I saw 19 somewhere. 19, 20, 22, 23. No 21, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26? No map 26? Weird. Is it map 2? Oh, did I rename map 2? No, this makes sense. Oh, it is map 2. No, that's not right. 2 and 25. Oh, because 2 has the gap in the top. Huh. I must have added this later. I don't know. It's frustrating me because I don't... What? It's a river on the right. And the south as well. No, that was the recent one. Huh. Must be a newer map then. I don't remember adding this to the map pool. It's a river to the right. What the frick? Oh, it's here. Oh, it's the same as map 4. Okay, so map 25, which I find interesting. This is actually a very interesting imbalanced map. Um, this is very similar to another map actually. The Riverline one. Where is it? Map 8. So it's one of those flanking maps. Yeah, map 8. It's very similar to map 8, which I'll show you what it is. The reason why is because of the extra troop reinforcement, which it still doesn't feel right. Which one is it? It's the one with mismatched front lines. 27, not 19. Is it? I thought there was one more where you had 4 troops. Huh. Feels weird to me. Yeah, there is one where you have 4 troops. 12? No, that doesn't make sense. 12 has 2 in the north and the forest here. Huh. I thought there was another one with 4 troops. I guess this is the only map with 4 troops. Where did they put this one? Map 2026, I think. 27. Okay, so this is a one with the river line running through it. Huh. 27. No map 26. Weird. They must have deleted it because they thought it was a duplicate. Okay. What's unique about this map? Tank imbalance. So as you if you count the tanks, blue automatically has 2 tanks in the north. This makes blue a very threatening presence. The problem with this one bridge is it would be very hard to retreat if things go wrong, especially since red has these 4 light troop reinforcements. What red can also do is basically naval invade these tanks across the river here and basically equalize, if not get ahead, which is kind of scary because blue only has one bridge to retreat from. So, make your decision whether you assault with blue in the north. I highly recommend retreating your troops, or at the very least, retreating your tanks out of there, and then the light units. As I said before, there's a gap here which you can kind of exploit for reinforcements. But I almost always favor red. I forget why. I think red, you're doing the same thing. You're retreating these troops. Oh, it's in there the bridge reinforcement. This reminds me of that one. Um, it's a peninsula. This feels so familiar to me. There's like a peninsula in the back. Nope, nope, nope. This one. Oh, but that's the one. That's the thing. Yeah, okay, not that important. Um, yeah, there's not a similar reinforcement rate down here, so I wouldn't bother too much with that. But red, you're basically forcing your troops, these extra troops. The problem is blue's tanks are just so far away from the front line, it's kind of difficult. So you might want to put a tank on the capital or something. Blue, because of this terrain, makes it harder to reinforce. I think red is an advantage in reinforcement. So I almost always split my forces south and north. Red will have to push forward. I would favor red here just because it's got a cleaner front line and reinforce lines like they just push through the center. These troops in the south are very interesting, especially with this island. You think you could do a lot, it's actually not going to be that much. If you launch naval invasions, it's very interesting because red is a distance. What's very interesting, I find with the south, blue only needs to pull 1 troop back to the city. This is like a little bit unfair. If you pull 1 troop back to the city, you could do a lot of naval invasion shenanigans here, like going attacking these southern cities, or if you put like a light troop here, you could even do a surrounding. So if you pull these light units back, you basically get an extra light unit to pull on the front line. Red can theoretically do the same, but you're basically leaving your back exposed, which is a little dangerous. So it's good to keep 2 units, but blue always has the option of pulling a light unit away. And you can just do some fun maneuvering tactics down here. But blue almost always gets this extra light unit. Red can, but they just got to be a little bit more wary. As I said before, this is a relatively balanced map. I mean, making sure the problem is with blue is that it's very hard to get back to its cities, especially with its tanks if they ever need to retreat. So red, because of this massive tank advantage in the south, especially if you pull these light units, whether it's across the river or across the bridge, I think red just has a much more easier advantage, especially since red in the north can always pull these units back quite reliably. Like there's no major rush. And if blue pushes too far, guess what? You'll get naval invaded as well. So because there's only one bridge, it's very hard for blue to push this northern front. So I would say this is relatively favored in terms of red, both in terms of reinforcement and just map balance in general. So I'm going to show you guys some footage of map 25 where I'm playing red against Dottore MD. Um, so obviously do a standard opening of I pull these units back instead of advancing forward, tanks here. Something very interesting happens, which is this city down in the bottom left is very rarely garrisoned. It takes so long to path. Blue should theoretically be faster, but if you pull it right, you can sneak through unless blue's pulling these units back, which is probably the smart move. As soon as blue pulls these units back, you pull all these units to the front line because you have such a large tank mismatch. We see this 4-on-1 tank battle here with the combat with expanded. I'm pulling my tanks back, I'm pulling my light units back. Blue should really be attacking up in the north or retreating across the bridge if they want to, depending on how they want to play this. And you can see it's taking a while for blue to get their reinforcements in. Blue should really be pulling this light unit all the way here if he sees this naval invasion, but obviously he's kind of busy trying to keep his troops alive, so this is just more advanced micro. But yeah, if you need to, this needs to be more on the front line, so either this city or this city, because as soon as he sees my naval invasion, he should be rushing to pull back. At this point, it's a little bit slow. I think this unit will barely be able to get it if he's not paying attention. But a very nice naval invasion sneak down here is always, if you're pulling a light unit back to this city, it's defendable. But if not, this is a very nice city to grab. And pretty much this opening is pretty much finished as soon as I capture this city while I'm attacking these troops in the north. I have a large troop advantage already. It's going to expand with me capturing the city. I do some advanced movement tactics where I notice he doesn't have any troops in the back, so I just move this city off. And then you're going to plan to build a unit here. So this gives me a 2-city advantage, and the game's pretty much over from there. So pretty standard opening for map 25. I do get lucky with some of the naval invasions. But yeah, as soon as I destroy these 2 units in the south, I get 2 extra free units, and yeah, that's a pretty standard opening. And map 27, yeah, they concur. It's relatively unbalanced, I think, in terms of red. Still playable. I think good players will think, but I think this is relatively skewed toward red. This southern side, I really like messing with the southern troops. Just be careful, but yeah, it's definitely interesting because I think leaving 2 troops here are a waste of time. But also, if you give your opponent more to manage, you better make sure your micro is good. Yeah, terms advantage for red, and that's map 25. Not much more to say. This one was really tortured as a map